gonna kill you quick tonight vibes from Throbbert.
Go your own way, stones and shadows wide, willows whisper of darkness deep and wide. In the forest, there is no place to hide. Strange bells, tonight I fear that I will not survive the dying of the light.
All right. This is The Light, the series from the Starfall Collective. It is a collaborative storytelling group using the Dragons game system as a vehicle for creating rich and compelling stories in a fictional world we've been developing together for a while, collective as well as the stories we're telling in the starfallcollective.com. Previously, Light, I'll say this part and this summary I have to catch us up to where we are, and then we'll do introductions. Thoughts from your character's perspective or from the perspective of the players. Previously on the Dying of the Light, the party found the headwaters to be different than they expected. As far as they could tell, it is encircled entirely by a massive stone wall looming 100 feet or more in the air and around 40 feet thick at its base. The nearby river, the boundary between Garatone and Simderon, flowed out from the headwaters through a wide arched sally port. The party overpowered the guards stationed there and made their way into the fortified headwaters. Unlike the forest outside, the inside of the headwaters fortification had no trees at all. Without a canopy or trees, they were able to see the scale of the place. The thick outer wall encircled a region about 5 miles wide. Just outside, inside the wall was gloomy and dark, like early dusk. Ringing the inside of the wall, about 200 feet wide, was a kind of town where all the soldiers of the Iron Bell apparently lived. It was all but empty, seeming to contain only a skeleton crew to man the river entryways. It, in turn, had another inner wall, much smaller and really acting only as a visual reminder they should not pass. Inside that, stretching for miles, as far as was dirt and rock, covered with thousands upon thousands of cages, almost entirely empty. This inner region was much darker, like a perpetual twilight. Scattered amongst the cages, peculiar mounds of dirt hid rough staircases that descended into clammy pit houses, each big enough for a half dozen of the peculiar inhabitants to live. The inhabitants were tall, perhaps 7 feet, and lithe. Their complexions had a hue of deep purple, almost black. But this place, too, was almost entirely deserted. Following the river upstream, the party began to spy something else peculiar in the center of the great desolate plain. A rough mound of earth jutted up from the ground, a small mountain. Perched impossibly atop the mountain, a huge disk of white stone floated without visible support. The disk formed the center plane of an enormous sphere of dark mist, blacker and denser than any they had seen before. As the mist undulated and swirled, they could just make out the outer edges of a strange kind of building atop the white stone disk. A low, rumbling din could be heard from no particular direction, and 6 streams of water fell from the edges of the disk, spaced fairly evenly, becoming the great rivers as they flowed outwards. Exploring the mound underneath, they found a few interesting things. First, Zevek's peculiar aura carved out a kind of spherical hole in the cloud of darkness above. Second, the waters from above seemed to grow in volume as they splashed into the river channels, somehow increasing the amount of water as they flowed outward. Third, the structure atop the white disk had a number of openings. Was able to ferry the party up and into one of the chambers exposed to the outside. Occasionally, the near silence and din were punctuated by strange, distorted bellows of groans and wails that sounded inhuman and also recognizable as human or beast. Arasanala, Diamondback, and Inkatink flew up under the Snake Witch's magic, while the great dragon carried the rest of the party along with Zevek into the hole to put them into the building. The fighting men of the Black City remained below while the party scouted out above. The dragon, too large to flew off to find a different way to get into the peculiar floating keep. As Zevek entered, the mist evaporated and the darkness lifted considerably. Erratic sounds of clattering objects could be heard echoing nearby, as though whoever carried them had dropped them suddenly. The party found themselves in a bizarrely constructed network of walls and hallways that, after a time, had the distinct impression of being, to their surprise, a palace of sorts, made of rock and mineral, formed somewhat purposefully looking into the shapes that it currently held. The interior dim and dark, but less so with Zevek there. Exploring the palace, looking to get away from the outer edge, they moved and eventually found themselves inward, facing a center courtyard. Looking out of an opening, they found the courtyard looked this way. This is where I stopped writing, so I had to. The white stone formed a smooth ground surface for the entire courtyard. The courtyard was a few hundred feet wide in each direction. And in the center, the top of the mountain below, was a hewn ziggurat of stone. The ziggurat had 6 sides, and cutting each of the sides, a trickle of water, a stream, a small rivulet flowed from the top of the ziggurat as a fountain down, gaining water, gaining volume as it flowed, and into cut channels on the white floor. They flowed outward, eventually, you assume, falling off the disk and into the exterior space. This ziggurat also had another strange feature that carved into its surface, carved into the base of the ziggurat in this bright white stone, was a sort of lumpy organic shape with darker granite type stone above it. And as you poked your heads out, as you moved into the opening of this space, you caught just a trailing glimpse of a tall, thin, lithe, purple-skinned creature cutting the throat of a green hag who was standing on the mound, her blood falling all over herself and him. And then she began to slip, and as she was pushed, she slid down the surface of this strange cave. And when she did, suddenly it occurred to you what you were seeing. The organic shape on the white stone, covered in red blood, had the uncomfortable appearance of a tongue. And the arch above of a mouth, distorted and huge, swallowing this dying creature. You stood looking for a moment, and the one who was standing in front of the ziggurat's disturbing mouth wiped the blade that he was carrying on his red-stained front cloak. And there were several other figures around. 30, 40 seconds later, maybe a minute, the water at the top of the ziggurat that was continuously burbling became kind of a crimson red for a few seconds and flowed out, the blood dissipating into the streams as they went. In unison, the six of these tall purple figures that you saw turned to the entrance where you were and said, completely synchronously, "Yes, come." So let's introduce each other. Let's introduce everybody here. We'll go around, say something about yourself if you like, and any impressions or thoughts or feelings or whatever you have about the current state of affairs. Why don't we start with this time, Aaron Joy?
Sure. Hi, I'm Erin Joy. I play Nino. She is a forest gnome. She's a cleric and a ranger. She is forest gnome sized. And somewhere along the way, in between the hole where Zevik lived and where she is at this point in her life, she has become a convert to the idea of the kind of lifestyle that Zevik had going in his territory. She also has apparently lost the ability to do even the most rudimentary magic. So for her, it's Zevik's way or no way. And the more time she spends around him and back in the dark world, the more happy she is that she somehow found herself stuck in a light mood. She also, her cleric self has long been a devotee of the god of the underground waters. Over the course of her adventures, she has started some amount of honoring of the god that she had some interaction with in the in Zevik's land, and also Morris. So she's kind of got 3 people that are recipients of her prayers to the extent that they receive those. She doesn't know. Nobody teaches this stuff. She's making it up, but making it up and doing it faithfully. She is right now utterly freaked out that these 6 figures, which to her look like they have distinguishing marks that are indicating to her that they are the coven. They are the coven, the six territory owners in the Dark World. So she's a little freaked out by that, but she's more freaked out that they don't seem to be independent creatures, and that they themselves seem to be serving the Mouth Mountain, whatever that is. She feels like it's really crunch time to have her worldview shaken up like this. She was prepared to come and fight 6 independent fighters, not whatever is going on up here. And I'll put the word fight in quotes because she's got very few skills. It is very small, but she's feisty. So there we are. That's how things are going in her world at the moment.
Okay. Dwight, how about you?
Belvari is also here.
Okay. Does he have any feelings about what's happening?
It looks super creepy.
All right. How about you, Matt?
Hello, my name is Matthew Talamini. I'm a writer and web developer based in Providence, Rhode Island. You can find my stuff at MatthewTalamini.com. That's Matthew, Talamini.com. I play the shirtless wizard Diamondback. Diamondback is terrified that the magic that he earned with great sacrifice and much suffering and strife and work will not help, will not function at this point of crisis where he needs it the most because of Zebek's presence.
Excuse me. Okay.
Otherwise, this is what he's been working toward, this confrontation, and he's ready to fight as hard as he possibly can.
All right. Good.
And not scared
Pat,
at all of death.
Good. Pat, how about you?
Jump in that mouth then.
Hey, I am Pat. I'm playing the half-orc druid Toll, and Toll is probably feeling pretty good about this whole thing, considering he's been influenced somehow. So he hears a bunch of creepy creatures saying, "Yes, come," in unison, and he thinks, that sounds like a great idea. If he were in his right mind, he'd probably think, that does not sound like a great idea, and would probably not be super into any part of what's happening right now. He's not really seen anything like this before. I mean, I don't think any of us have seen these creatures before, but the architecture of a ziggurat is probably unfamiliar to him. And he also does not have magic at his disposal. Although being an orc, he's probably more comfortable with the mace that he has a mace, right?
Yes, that sounds right. Staff.
Well, I have the
Both.
Morris staff, but I think Josh gave me a mace.
Okay.
I forgot to
great.
add it to my inventory, so I don't know for sure.
Yes. We'll say yes.
We can ask him when he gets back, because it was a specific kind of mace, and I don't remember.
Who gave it to you?
I think Josh gave it to me.
Okay. Sounds good. Oh, it was from the when y'all looted that one place in the town in the hole. So we'll get
Yeah.
there.
Do the purple people look like those people we saw in the town in the hole?
They do.
Okay.
Oh,
Look like the same, not the same ones necessarily, but the same kind.
Were those individuals purple as well?
Their skin had a dark purple hue.
Oh, okay. I forgot that detail.
Okay. How about you, Josh?
You're
Might be
muted.
muted.
Josh, I
Josh?
believe you're muted.
I am Chris. I'm going to mute again and then. I am Inkatink, orphan to murder run red, refugee of black stones, blood kin to Crithovashalefex the blue, and I will have my vengeance or my death this night.
All righty.
My name is Inka
Bravo!
Tinkokoyo.
You'll kill my father. Prepare to die.
And Jared.
Hey, my name's Jared. I'm playing Yoshka, who is stepping into the inevitable finale that fate has carried him to and is ready for the final unfolding of things.
All right. One second. Okay,
He's just writing an email on the Covenant's behalf before they die.
that's right. Okay. So that's what you've seen up to this point. I'm going to a moment more. The courtyard, as your eyes are adjusting to what you're seeing a little bit and getting some sense of placement and scale, is covered with what look like extremely realistic statues of a number of different kinds of creatures. Some of them you recognize, some of them you don't. They are lifeless for being statues, and they are tended by the half dozen of these purple creatures. When I say tended, I mean they are these creatures. These purple creatures are walking amongst them, doing something you don't recognize. They've all turned to you, as I said, in unison, and finished speaking. They continued looking at you, lingering for a moment, and then turned back to what they were doing. I'll give you a quick description of what you see. The one who is standing in front of the mouth and just pushed the green hag down its throat or whatever is dressed in a long dark blue cloak that's covering a pale robe. The entire front of his garment is completely covered with splatters of red. Next to him, what you could best describe as maybe a pile of creatures, humans and half orc and other sorts, maybe 5 or 6 creatures, bound, not looking like statues, but just regular creatures, bound, are there, perhaps ready to be. You don't know. A little bit away, gaunt figure. He stands before kind of beast creatures that look like something you've seen before, an ape with several hands. This one bigger than the one you saw before. You remember it being called a Giralon. He's doing something you can't quite make out, but you do catch his hands, bony, skeletal hands, completely flayed, with bleeding flaps of skin hanging down. Elsewhere, you see a burly figure, still tall like the others, and you might even say something like slender, but bigger than them. He's dressed in rough furs. Most of them seem blackened and scorched, as though he works often with fire. In another part of this courtyard, there's a figure wearing what could only be described as a mound of layered rags, though you can almost see the stench of his squalor. Standing off to one side is a tall, slender woman. The first thing you notice about her is a thick black blindfold she wears over her eyes. She's striking and beautiful, which adds a frightening tone to her severe garb and look. And finally, another figure, also tall and slender, stands further away from you, the other side of this courtyard, wearing mostly what appear to be fine leather garments with a number of small tools or weapons or something hung on. He's got leather straps and belts and different kinds of things that are clearly used for some kind of actual work. But what it is, you don't know. Seeing this, Zevek takes a few steps out and looks around, not bewildered, but clearly taking in something he did not expect. The six others don't seem to care much that you're there. They're doing what they're doing. And as he walks forward, Fa turns to him and says, "It was good of you to come."
Yoshka is keeping step with Zevek.
You're walking with him.
Yeah.
Inkatink's not getting left behind. He's here to murder somebody, and you can't do that from 20 feet away. Not without magic.
Diamondback has. I have a couple questions for the DM about the space and people, but also I'm going to follow 5 feet behind Yoshka.
In the opening, real quickly, in the opening that y'all were standing in, it was you, Zevek, and Arasanala.
Right.
Just to tell you who's there.
So I'm within such a distance of Zebek that I know that my magic won't work right now, right?
That's right. As a matter of fact, you can all see that the sphere of darkness around you is all but consumed by his presence. It seems not even to be visible meaningfully. Some bits of it dissipating, and other than you expect, because there's still a gloom, but the sphere seems to be consumed by Zevek's presence. When you look up, you don't see the great canopy. It is a dark gray that might be growing a little brighter.
Could you please describe for me the sacrificial structure described like a mouth with a tongue? How tall would you? So it has an opening, right? That bodies go down. How tall would you say that opening is?
Maybe a dozen feet tall.
12 feet tall?
Sure. It's kind of shaped like this, giving the impression of, and the surface underneath it is giving the impression of tongue. So it's not like a perfect arch.
And how wide?
About 18 feet, maybe.
Okay.
Again,
thank you.
Meeting at an odd angle. And
okay. So my next question is the place that the section that I grew up in, that Diamondback grew up in, and by whose soldiers Diamondback's entire village was killed. Is that Garaton?
Cinderon.
Cinderon.
I don't mean to speak for you, but I just
No, you're right.
No,
We're on-
because
Yeah.
Diamondback knows this, just Matthew has trouble keeping track of it. And which one is Cinderon? Can you describe Cinderon again for me?
Cinderon's name is Cinderon the Blinding,
Okay.
but he, you know him to be a master of his domain is where beasts are harvested.
And I see him before me.
he described the 6 guys, but we have to figure out who's who.
I'm gonna guess
Yeah,
it's
but
the
there's
dude
one with a
covered
fur
in,
cloak on.
and it's singed as though he works with fire a lot. So Cinderon the Blinding.
I will
I'm
give
going to
you,
go with Fa, the Shadow of the Sun, being the one who's burnt up.
Okay, great. So we don't know for sure. That's all I wanted to know. Please continue.
okay.
Yoshka has a response, but he's going to defer to Zevik first since he spoke to Zevik.
Sure. He looks around and he says, with apparent, but also what looks to you like patience or something. What is this place? But before he can answer, one of them, standing a little further away, the one with flayed hands, turn and
With 4 flayed hands.
no, he's standing a creature with 4 arms,
Oh, okay. Okay.
like a gorilla looking.
He's not the gorilla.
His hands are flayed. These all look like tall, whatever their people is. It's a tall species. You've seen that old one down there. Seen a couple of them here and there. Talid beheaded one. Whatever that, on the sort of live side, not built like really stocky like an orc would be, and with some variation in them. This one with flayed hands turns and looks into the opening where and says, Snake Witch, I didn't expect you here. I've been keeping you for a time such as this. Arasanala, who is in her hood, her flesh hood for the snake, puffs out big, and she seems fierce. She does not emerge from that area of the limitations from Sevek right now. Just on point. When Zevik says, "What is this place?" the one who's standing there doing the sacrificing says, "We felt you when you arrived," and looks over at you,
Are these
Toll.
the voices that they? Is that the tone of voice?
No, I can say, but they're saying it pretty conversationally.
Okay.
But yeah, arrived. We weren't sure whether you were coming to us, but we're glad you did. These others, and he points to the pile of bodies that he has, which you can now clearly see are 5. He said, these were to finish our preparations, but we don't need to. And told and says, in a voice a little bit different, but still him, says, "You'll do indeed." Zevek has now wandered around and looking all around. You're adjust to the fact that it's growing brighter. It's not yet to the level of what light in the forest, but and the sphere of mist is gone, right? And the din you've been hearing, you hear this kind of rumbling, kind of you've been hearing it the whole time you've been in the city. Zevek looks over the edge, and you can see now is that the disc, instead of having one solid wall around it, is 6 separate stalagmites sticking up, each one its own sort of palace with openings and different things. And Zevek looks at the edge and in for a minute and says, turns over his shoulder, Yoshka, all of you should see this.
Yoshiko will look.
Diamondback, you're close behind. Inkatink's with him. Where are you, Neno?
Neno is being as inconspicuous as she can. She's like almost hiding in the other people's clothing.
But not with Arasanala.
No, not back
in the
there.
opening.
No,
Okay.
with the crowd. Her desire is to get up and look at the water that's coming up from the underground. So,
Like climb up the ziggurat.
yeah.
Which would be a large and conspicuous.
I'm hoping to do it from the other side.
Okay. So you go to look over the edge, or you're not like, you don't have to go close. You can just see down. Diamond, Belvari, where are you?
Probably skulking in the corner.
Hanging back in the opening with the lich.
Sure.
Okay. Pat, how about you? Where's Toll?
Yeah, Toll is into everything that's happening right now, so he's near the front.
Okay. And okay, great. So who's there with kind of walking is Pat, it's Toll, Inkatink, and Neno. Belvari and Arasanala are back behind, and though the top is now pretty open, you haven't seen the dragon yet. Looking over the edge, those of you who are there, you have a kind of a tough time putting together what you're seeing. It's still a little dark, and you can tell you're seeing something far away, but it's a white sheet, it looks like, of wriggling, writhing something. And as your eyes kind of adjust, you start picking out individual details, little small pieces of wiggle and writhe, and you identify one thing and then another. You see a Girolon here, and over there, a great elk, bits of flesh hanging down, and people doing something. A huge number of people. Roll me an intelligence check to see what your mind thinks of the number.
Yoshika got a 6.
19.
7.
This is not an intelligence investigation check, but just straight intelligence.
It's just you're glancing and going, what is this number of things?
11.
Josh, did you have?
Shout out to the
got
2
it.
crew.
Okay, fair enough. Matt, and Pat, what did you guess? Or not guess, roll?
I got a 7.
Okay, so under 10 and over 10, 10 was the DC there. Neno, you have a pretty good feel for what you're seeing. Matt, Diamondback, you also get a sense of it. A number comes to mind. The others of you are just like, what in the world? You make out, as you look down, 2 rivers with people on either side within the city. Back half of the city where you weren't. There's 2 rivers, one pie wedge is full of people, and then a little bit on either side of the other bits. Some effort has been gone into tearing down a large opening in the kind of northeast side of the wall. The great big massive wall now has a large opening torn down where this huge group of people will be able to exit the city. Neno, Diamondback, as you put this together, you see on one side, in one wedge, undead of every species and kind. In the center wedge, humans, humans, orcs, half-orcs, halflings, wearing, with flashing, and then on the other side, handlers with hundreds, many, many, many animals there. The number you put together is, you estimate, 6, 7, maybe 800,000 strong. About a third undead, a third humanish.
It's like ever counted something that high. Those are not that don't fit in our world.
I'm really glad I gave Toll that breastplate. That's going to come in very handy.
These are far below you, and you don't seem in danger from them, but they are clearly gathered here, ready to march, and the wall is being torn open. Piecing it together. No, roll me, if you will, a survival check. That's how you tell things like direction and things.
20. But
Natural 20, not natural 20. Okay. This is not exactly opposite, but it's the Black City is to the west-ish, and this is to the northeast. They're clearly going to go northeast when they leave. Not in your direction at all. Zevek, as y'all just for a few moments, Zevek turns again and says to them, "What is this place?" He's walked back towards where the mouth is, not like really close, but he's 60 feet away or something. And the one who is standing in front smiles, a sort of menacing, kind of delighted grin, and says, "You will know everything you need to know when it is time. But for now," and he lifts up a hand and makes an arcane gesture, a set of gestures, holds up 2 fingers straight to Zevek, who's among all of you, right? Y'all are there, standing there. Josh?
I begin to mimic doing counterspell, and I'd like to make a performance check to make this guy believe that it is I who has stymied his magical powers.
Do you know the spell counterspell?
That seems very irrelevant to the situation because I'm not actually casting counterspell. I'm just pretending to counterspell him.
Roll me a performance check.
Make him make a DC 20 Arcana check and then a DC 20 performance check.
Oh, come on. It was
With
an 18 and then it rolled to a
disadvantage.
4. It's a 7. It was an 18 for a split second, then it rolled over to a 4.
Now,
Fair enough. Arcana. Okay. There you go. Nat 20 plus 3 is a 23.
all right. So you perform a hand jive that would be delightful to behold to all of the people, such as this glowering figure with an evil grin says to Zevek, "As for you," says to Zevek, "As for you, it is time for you to," and he finishes with a flourish, "kneel." Cast. Anybody who's interested in knowing what he's doing, see if you can do it. Diamondback with advantage. for a certain reason.
I have a 19.
18 for Toll.
Back to back nat 20 Arcana checks. 23.
Dirty 20.
I got a
Okay.
6.
And Yoshika, are you trying to figure it out? Okay. Wow. All of you who are there who try to figure it out, Diamondback, you really have a clear sense of this because you've seen a very similar spell to this before, which, sorry, I'm looking for,
It's some kind of power word spell, isn't it?
it is. And you yourself have seen a very similar spell to this, very up close and personal. This is power word stun. It is an extraordinarily high level spell that just will, it does what it says. With a word, kneel, it causes them to the person to be completely stunned and fall. Zevek laughs for a second and says, "No? What?" And walks a little closer and says, "This has to stop." And now he's standing 5 or 6 feet the side of this horrific mouth and turns to the pile of terrified people and says to them, "You all, you're free to go," but doesn't do anything. He just tells them that. The one who, all of the other 6 seem really, really shocked that nothing happened that they could tell.
While Zevek has everybody's focus, Nino is going to scooch away from the line of sight around the edge of the ziggurat.
Okay.
Belvari will, if he sees that, will scooch around also.
Mhm.
Keep an eye on Nino.
Yeah, you can see that.
Thank you.
And an ear on everything else.
There's a little bit of a you can tell a noticeable hush as everything is quiet. Zevek, who's not quite at the front yet, turns to the one in front of him, not significantly concerned for some reason. You know, he's pretty nonchalant most of the time. And he says to him, "What's down this throat?" The figure who has been talking is visibly shaken and starts to speak, but the woman who's there, the striking woman with the blindfold, says, "Fa, watch yourself." She's wearing a blindfold. "Can you not see that something's wrong?" The man standing at the front takes a step back and says, takes a step back and I'm trying to figure out which part I want to do here, and says, and without still looking at Zevek, turns and says, "Sister, quiet. There's nothing they could do anyway. Our sacrifices are almost complete, and we will be blessed. We will bring the Night of the Drow to the entire Elven Empire and the whole world." Zevek, hearing that, peers down and he looks back at Yoshka and glances at Neno and says, to the two of you, he knows the best, obviously. He says, this is, as these others are talking, right? He seems to like sort of be ignoring them and says, this is the water that oppresses you. And he glances at you, Yosh, as he says that, and then he glances at you and he says, I think, and looks at Nano, I think I need to see the source of this water.
At this point, Neno, looking at the top of the fountain, suspecting that Zevik is going to try heading down the mouth on purpose, and sprints toward him, basically intending to tackle him around the waist. We'll see if she gets there. But that's her plan. She's going to launch all of her, prevent him from going down the mouth.
He takes several steps forward and is now on the slippery white stone covered in red and sees you running towards him. Yoshka, you can feel free to say anything you want. But he says to Neno, are you coming?
And she is.
Okay.
In his invite, her plan is to jump in before him. She's wearing her pants. The god of the underground waters might be down there. She is preparing herself to either recruit him or fight him if he is actually the provider of the oppressive water.
You hear
she's going to be.
oh,
Okay.
you hear Inkatink cry out, "Not again!"
Roll initiative.
Wait, I thought that
Hey,
Zebek
Josh.
was just talking about going somewhere else.
Okay. I believe you.
What
Yes,
just
Tom?
happened? What happened that makes us go into initiative?
I'll back it up and more narrative. What happened there was timings of things. Neno is running at Zebek. Zebek is standing at the opening of the mouth, looking in, and says, "Are you coming?" to Neno, who nods that she is, and takes a leap towards Zebek. Fa, who's been doing this, steps forward with his dagger as though to attack at Zebek.
Okay, great. Now I understand.
Josh,
I
what
omitted
was
that.
the mace that you gave me?
The base that I gave you?
Need a D20?
Oh, the mate. I already removed it from my inventory, but let me check and see if I can find it in my history or something like that. I don't know if that's possible.
Do you need a die?
Oh, I got a 18.
Belvari apparently was not keeping a good eye on Nino because he got a 1.
Neno got a 5.
I was very fast to run away.
Dwight got a 1. Belvari got a 1. Anybody else got anything?
21.
Toll got 14.
Toll got 14. Diamondback got 21.
And Inkatink got a 12.
12. And I'm going to give Arasanala got a 2. And
It's probably Belfari's fault.
okay. Give me 1 second. Brutal. I didn't save this thing yet. Sorry, give me a second. I'll have to enter these in. Before I save this encounter part, my what do you call it? Reload. I forgot about it.
We got time.
Yeah, just give me a stack here.
You could take a 5-minute break.
No, I don't think I'll need it.
Computers are for fools.
That's right.
That's why I calculate everything myself.
Okay. That guy right there. That gives me the Coven and the Arasanala. And um, make sure I have all the characters in. I do not. Belvari is hidden. Maybe I should have said yes.
I love that Belvari's character even hides himself on your computer.
Yeah.
Sneaky, sneaky.
Okay. Encounter. And Belvari got a 1. Yoshika got an 18. Diamondback had a 21. Nino had a 5. Oops. He could take
I'm
a
glad
12.
there's some waters here for you to.
Toll had a 14. And
I was glad for where we stopped last time because I have like time to like make what would Minnow want right now.
Yeah.
This guy had a 1. Okay. Neno, you run forward and leap to Zevek just as Fa takes a step forward with his dagger, but he was not expecting any of that. And as he's ready to strike out for Zevek, Zevek grabs you adroitly, holds you, protectively, and just takes a leap down the throat. And down you go as Fa steps forward and misses. That's the beginning of the action here. You tumble downward in the dark. Zevek, hold one arm around you, using his other hands to his hand and his other legs to push off elements of the thing. As you know already, he's very dexterous, and you go down into the dark. You're falling quickly, but he seems to be pretty good about finding things that he can jump off of, sort of, and control your fall. He's not able to stop you. He's not even trying to stop you, but he's controlling your fall. It goes for quite some distance in the dark. Your adrenaline's pumping. You don't know how far it's been, but you feel every movement that he makes as you're going down, down, down. The wetness is on all of the sides of this tunnel that has constricted some. In the darkness, you don't know whether it's blood or water or both. You only know that you're going down, and the of each slap against stone can be heard up and down. He's quiet with occasional grunts, this kind of thing. And by the tone of it, you can hear after a certain amount of falling, it's hard to know how long with the excitement, you are near the bottom. Switching back to the top. Fa forward. Strike Zevek, but miss, because Zevek, to his complete surprise, to Fa's complete surprise, jumps down this hole that no one would willingly go down. There are a few moments of stunned silence, and the 6 turn, ready to fight. It is
Who goes first?
back. Your turn.
When Zebek disappears down this hole, does my continual flame on my shoulders flicker back to life?
Not yet.
Do I think that if I jumped down this hole, I would die?
Roll me a wisdom check. DC
This should be an
4.
easy wisdom check. It's like a straight down hole, right?
That's right.
Wisdom. Okay. That's a 6, which beats
Well, it was a
DC
4. So with a 6, you're very confident you will die.
Okay.
Remember, you said at the beginning of this that you do not fear death.
Yeah, I know.
He just likes hiding behind other reasons.
Yes, that's exactly right. It's
not pretty
tactics,
bad.
not cowardice. Strategy. So, what's my spatial sense of, and it's likely that maybe Diamondback can't even figure this out, but I have a sense of how far Zebek's anti-magic field reaches. And I don't know how far down this hole goes, but presuming that it goes down to like the ground level, if Zebek's down there at ground level, will his anti-magic field reach all the way up here? Do I think?
If he goes to ground level. It's
Okay,
like
also
he was, when he was underneath it, it was barely touching the white.
Okay, so it sort of just reaches, and we don't know how far down this hole goes. So if it goes deeper than ground level or all the way down, he might pass beneath, and he might not have gone all the way down yet.
That's right.
Second, knowing what we've from experiments that we've done about this anti-magic field, do I think that because he was up here, the anti-magic field will continue to be up here indefinitely? Because places that he's gone in the past have been like purged of my ability to do magic for like at least a couple days afterwards.
Roll me an intelligence check just for your gut level reaction with a low DC. We're going to do like a DC 6 on this.
Can it be investigation?
You're not really stopping to investigate. It's just another quick.
17.
Okay. Yeah. It doesn't fit that he would be, that there would be no magic here. Your impression is somewhere he spent some time and maybe slept or ate or left something of himself.
Okay, so I think that magic might return imminently to this place, to this battlefield.
There's a good chance. Although with a 17, you also have a gut feeling, probably not within several feet.
Because they're wearing the clothes.
Yoshka's 5 or 2. But this place is several hundred feet wide. You know that you're in. So
I'm okay. Okay. All right. We're gonna okay. I have a sling. I'm spinning a rock in my sling. I'm going to go. So I see before me the one with the fur skin.
You do.
Is he? I'm near Yoshka. Is he like directly in front of me, or is he off to one side, or?
Yep. Give me 1 second. I will tell you exactly. Here, just a second. A kid ate pancakes and they got syrup on them. Just a second.
Ah.
Tasty.
The archivist grits his teeth.
Matthew's the only person I know who's taken the power of the theater, of the engine theater of the mind, and used it to make paper. By the way,
Okay.
oh, okay.
Yep.
I was going to
So
say,
you're
hey,
good.
Jared, let's do some shameless metagaming. You're pretty good at grappling, and so am I. And there's a hole. So what do you say we take out the garbage?
That is just what I was thinking.
So here's your sense of space, Diamondback.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, you know what? I'll also describe it, but I want to make sure you have a decently clear image. This is an aerial view of the disc. Y'all can all look at this or whatever you get. That's an aerial view.
Okay.
Mouth. The rivers flowing out. I verbally describe them as going off the sides, not the edges, but just an error in my drawing. Let's see. Fa, Diamondback. And then around here are different of the other.
Okay.
They're doing different things in different spots.
So they're like,
You are,
the furthest one is like 100 feet away from me, or 200.
yeah, and obscured right now. The one with, I'll tell you which one it is. Just a second. The one that looks with the multi-layered mound of rags is currently obscured by the ziggurat. The one that you were interested in, who is in rough furs, is behind you. Here's you, Diamondback.
Uh-huh.
That's the one in furs.
Okay. So I walk 15 feet away from Yoshka.
Okay.
Does my continual flame come back?
Not yet.
I'm now 20 feet from Yoshka.
You're 20 feet from Yoshka.
Okay. I go 15 more feet.
And still no.
I throw a rock at the one in the furs.
Okay. Sounds
and
good.
And I say, hold on. I say, where's my thing? I say, Cinderon, heads up! Fling a rock at him. Does he react to the name Cinderon, the one in furs?
Not in the couple of seconds you have to look.
He doesn't startle? Okay,
It does not
cool.
startle.
Here's my attack roll.
Okay.
It's going to be a 23 to hit.
Give me a second and I will tell you.
Actually,
That does hit.
Is he within 30 feet of me?
He is not.
Oh, are any of them within 30 feet of me?
No, he's actually the closest one now because you walked 30 feet towards him. He's about 50 to 60 feet away.
Can I walk my 30 feet in a different direction so that I'm within 30 feet of one of them?
You were actually, the two that you were closest to, you'll still be about 50 feet away from either one. The blindfolded one and the one you thought was Cinderon, or the one you asked to see if it was Cinderon.
Okay, so I have to roll with disadvantage because he's in the long range of my sling, not the short range. But I'm still throwing a rock at Cinderon, and it is actually going to be an 18 to hit.
It still hits.
Yes! I clock the one in furs, which I think is Cinderon, right in the face with a smooth stone from my sling. And it does 4 points of damage. 4 big ones from your snake boy. Quattro.
The big Quattro.
And he hears, Cinderon, heads up! Donk.
That's not a mechanical sound that he made.
But the real, because all of my allies know that I have a continual magic effect on my shoulders, and that if it's not going, then we're in an anti-magic field, and as soon as we're not in an anti-magic field anymore, they'll see flames coming up on my shoulders. So I've moved away from. So now everybody knows, if they're thinking strategically the way Diamondback is trying to think strategically, that it's not only near to Yoshka that has an anti-magic field right now, but as far as 25 or 30 feet away from him.
Okay.
I don't know if everybody actually knows that, but that's part of the strategy of the move, is to figure out the landscape of the anti-magic field. All right, next person's turn.
The one nearest to you, Yoshka, the one Fa, they've said his name already, Fa, casts a spell directly at you, Yoshka, being the nearest to him, and is startled that nothing at all happens. The one, the next one nearest to you, Diamondback, the other one you could have gone. There's Yoshka right there. The one nearest to you right here cast a spell, nothing happened. The one here cast a spell, nothing happened. Both of them are really surprised by this. Yoshka, it's your turn. You're here. That's why.
And who's there with me?
Diamondback has gone here. Neno was here, but she went up here and then jumped over to Zevek and went down the hole.
Okay.
The gullet.
Yeah.
Toll's
with me there?
Toll is with you here.
Okay.
And that's it.
And then the guy who was sacrificing somebody is right there, like what, 15 feet away or something?
Yeah, really standing right next to the tongue, right about here. He was going to strike there. You're a little further from the tongue.
Okay, so
That's
with my 30 feet of movement, and is he with right next? Are there 2 of the coven here?
No, there's one right here and one right here. Those are the 2 that just tried to cast spells.
Okay.
And then these circles. There's one right here, here. Sorry, I know this is not good audio to say here, but does that make sense?
Yeah. Well, so I can get to him 30 feet.
You could, yeah.
I will go up to him and then try to push him down that hole.
So that's okay.
Lost you.
Cannot currently hear Sir Robert. We can't hear you.
You're frozen.
Heard you.
Yeah, we heard the
Something.
syllable re.
Reload
That's a
my.
pretty good syllable, though.
It is. It does a lot of
I think
heavy
he said-
lifting.
Feel of my.
I think he said reload my. I think he means his Glock.
Keep honking. I'm reloading.
Nice.
Ooh, now we have 2 Sir Roberts. That's interesting.
Preaching.
Too many. Am I right?
On your left, Captain.
Hey.
4,
heard
5,
1, 2,
6.
3.
Still,
From the right, Sir Robert.
yeah,
not
we
the
heard that,
left.
but it's not great.
We just heard you say 1, 2, 3 and nothing else. We haven't heard any audio from you since.
Maybe if you reload again, we'll get a third Sir Robert.
I
We
think you need to
convene
kick
the
some kids
Council
off
of
of the
Sirs
Fortnite.
Robert to see what we should do about this.
somebody's streaming. Somebody's on the Pirate Bay, torrenting.
If there were multiple Sir Roberts, would they be Sir Roberts or Sirs Robert?
Sir Roberts's. It's like Pocketses.
Or Hobbitses?
Bagginses.
All right, so moving and actively resisting character halves your speed. So if you can successfully grapple the person, then you can move half your speed with that person while you're grappling them.
We've lost both Sir Roberts. I take it back. It wasn't too many. It's one too few.
What's been said cannot be unsaid, Dwight.
Say what I want. Oh. Oh.
I have rope, but
I have spider silk.
it's in my robe of useful items. And I suspect that if I were to tear a patch off the robe of useful items and try to turn it into a thing, so Robert would be like, you tear a patch off the robe of useful items. It is a patch. And so I'm not going to attempt to get that rope for you.
While we're waiting to see if we rejoin.
You're
You're
here.
You
in.
seem to be back, Sir Robert. Hi.
Oh, hey, can you hear me?
Yeah.
We can hear you.
Mostly,
Seems
we
great.
can even see you.
Wonderful. We've been hearing y'all talk for a little bit, and yeah, it probably would be a patch. I'm gonna guess that normal connection.
Mostly.
Okay.
I can
So-
hear myself.
To give you all a sense, Jared, Yoshka's right here. Fa is right there. He did not make it onto the tongue where he was
Okay.
standing. He's about 5 feet. You could easily, if you grabbed him, you could, drag him. He'd have to fight you for it, right?
Okay.
And throw him on. But I don't know what the rules are for that, but I think you can just do that as an action.
I think Josh
I will
brought
at least-
him up.
Yeah, so
Okay.
if you can successfully grapple someone, then you can move up to half your speed. And if you successfully make an athletics-based opposed check, you can just shove them 5 feet.
Okay.
Which would drag him.
Mhm.
Well, I will
And
do
both of those
what-
things would take your action to do. To grapple somebody is an action that you can take in combat, and then the shove attack is also an action you take in combat. So maybe one person could grapple,
So-
and another person could shove.
But in
Well-
order to make that shove, the rules say that you make an attack like you use an attack action to shove a creature. So you don't have to grapple it and then shove it. You can just shove it with an opposed strength check.
Right.
He's
But
a
if you
little
want
ways
to
away,
carry
so I'd have
further,
to
you'd have to
grapple him
grapple
to
it
move him
first.
there. Yeah.
So if 20 feet of movement left. If you successfully grapple him, you're down to 10 feet of movement left, with which you could pull him onto the tongue. And
Okay.
or I say grapple, I really mean you're kind of trying to do like a grappling throw, heave kind of deal.
Well, Yosha's going to head that way over to Fa
Fa.
and seize him.
If you're able to make multiple attacks with the attack action, if you have second attack or something like that, this attack replaces one of them. And instead of making an attack, you make a strength athletics check contested by their strength or dexterity.
Yoshka has this action surge.
Mm-hmm.
So if I feel like if the grapple, then I will be moving him over to the hole and then trying
Okay.
to push him in.
Sounds good.
Maybe you should use him as a bat to knock
Yeah.
someone else into the hole.
You want to do it?
22.
Was your what?
Grapple?
Athletics check?
Isn't grappling just a
You need to make an athletics
melee
check, contested by the targets, athletics or acrobatics.
So if it's not an attack, it's not an unarmed, it's
not an
strength.
unarmed attack. It's
Athletics check.
That it's not.
Yeah.
Okay. So 20.
And let me roll his. He's going to do. I have to pull up this part. There it is.
Yoshka comes up saying, "It's rude of a host to leave his guest in a."
He rolls a 12.
Okay.
So at this moment, you have now. Sorry, this was the shove you were doing, right? Shoving the creature or grappling?
No, he has to drag him up to the mouth.
Well, sorry, hang on. You're saying that, Matt, but Sir Robert said that he was 5 feet away from the mouth. So if he's 5 feet from the mouth, wouldn't a 5-foot
then
shove
just do the
put
shove.
him in?
Yeah, why not?
What? Sorry. He's 5 feet from like the edge of the mouth. You need to get him up onto the thing. I will let him. I'll roll a 50-50 on whether he slips down or not by the amount you can just shove him, or you can take your grapple and have pulled him closer and then try to shove him in.
I was just going to do the grapple thing.
Do it.
Bring him over.
So he's currently grappled and.
So
you're ready.
Yoshka has his hands on his possibly scrawny arms. I guess he sizes him up when he's grappling him.
Yeah.
And grabbing him through the robes and moving him around
And
as
he's
quick
taller
as he
than
can.
you, but you're like meatier than he is. Because he's like maybe 7 foot. But
Okay.
he is pretty thin and wiry. So you've got him grappled. You move several feet. Now you're both standing near, on the tongue, near the crest of it. If you were to slip and fall right now, both of you, you would fall out of the mouth, not down the throat. Remember, it humps up.
Okay.
You can shove him over it if you
I
can
will
try to shove
use-
him over it.
I will
If you have a
use up-
second action.
I will use up my action surge.
Okay. We're going to do the exact same thing. It's a strength athletics. It's an athletic check for you, contested against his
Okay.
strength or dex.
Ooh. 10.
Let's see what happens. And it's against
One.
strength
One.
or dex.
One.
Here we go.
One.
Is it D20?
One.
A 19 plus 2.
Ooh.
We got a 21. So you managed to get him right there, grappled, and you give him a good hearty shove, but he's able to just barely get out of the way. He's using dexterity. That was what he did. And he manages not to stumble backward, but y'all are currently right there with each other.
Okay.
All right.
Does that break my grapple?
Because we're literally trying to ungrapple. Right.
But it could have. I don't know what. Josh, do you know the dynamics of that? Like
Whatever he says.
I'm
man.
just imagining if we were there and I was trying to get it over. One way it could have gone is, I don't know, he rolls and I'm actually now closer.
If you stay with the grapple and try to fling him down, because grappling, it grapples both of you, you would be throwing both of you down.
It's good that
This
you
is-
let go, man.
Yeah, shove is specifically says push it away from you.
Yeah, because I would be trying to get distance and not fall down myself.
Yeah.
On the slippery.
Or you'd be okay
Right.
falling on the outside,
Yeah.
wanting him to fall on the in, or something like that. But you're not trying to like take you both down.
Okay.
So he's standing there with you. Y'all are 1 foot from each other or something.
Smelling each other's breath.
That's right. That's right. Another figure from back elsewhere behind y'all casts a spell, and this is all happening really fast. These are seconds apart, and actually, 2 more of them try to cast spells with no effect. Toll, it's your turn.
Okay, so Zevik and Neno have descended down this hole, right?
That is correct.
And how is Toll feeling as far as like fighting these people with his addled mind?
The only thing that did was make you think that the suggestion to quote unquote come here was a pretty good idea.
Okay.
You don't like these people anymore. You don't like, you're not generally for their way of doing anything. You have all your normal sensibilities. It's just that you thought it was a pretty good idea to come where they wanted you to go.
Okay. Josh, were you able to figure out the mace? I apologize that
I don't know. I thought it was like a mace of smiting or something, which would only really matter if magic worked here. So if you just find a mace, then you'll have all the relevant stats.
Not plus anything, just a regular old mace.
Yeah, because magic doesn't work here anyway. So, I mean, a mace of smiting is a +1 mace, but
I also teed up a guy to push.
True,
Yeah.
you're near him.
Yeah. So I'm thinking if I have enough movement to get to the hole, I will.
Sorry, real quickly. I have the Mace of Smiting right here. I found it in my notes.
Okay, great.
Do you want me to-
I think the reason I didn't add it was because I couldn't find it.
Okay, let me add it, and I will put a manual. Just add a mace and show you what it does.
Okay,
If
cool,
it's
thanks.
for some reason not in D&D Beyond, you go ahead and say, or will it matter whether you have the? Going to impact what you do?
all you
Probably
need to do
not
is
this
make-
turn.
Okay, then do it. You're figuring out what you're doing.
Okay. Yeah, if Toll is within 20 feet of the guy and the hole, he will attempt to push the guy down into the hole.
You could always petition the DM for advantage since you're doing this at a run.
I could.
Okay, Toll, I added your Mace of Smiting, and I went ahead and equipped it just so that it's in your clear, obvious list.
Thanks.
All right. You are running at this, you're moving at this guy. Now, Toll, because you're coming at him from a sideways angle, let me show you this. Toll, you're going to run at him this way, but try to push him down the hole that way. Does that make sense? You're running this way?
Yeah.
But pushing him down the hole. So this isn't like you're going to run and like body check him in. This is going to be, you're going to run up to him and separately try to shove him in. So if you want to do that, roll an athletics check. He's going to contest it with his dex.
Great. And I have disadvantage on athletics, so we'll see how this goes. First one was a 10, and the second one was a 9.
And so what's your total?
9.
Okay, you didn't have any pluses or anything? Or you counted it already?
That was with my modifier, yeah.
Wow. So I rolled a 6, which is for him with his dex bonus an 8. So
Down
you
he
successfully
goes.
shoved this dude. Let me just read that really quickly.
Yeah,
Nice. Size larger than you must be within reach. Instead of attack, you make strength contested. You succeed if he's incapacitated. If you succeed, you either knock the target prone or push it 5 feet away from you. I'm guessing you wanted to push, right?
Yeah.
You shove this dude, and he falls back, tripping over the hump in the tongue that is the crest. This is the one who was in the middle of sacrificing people to bless their army's march, shoving all day people down this bloody hole, and he himself now finds himself sacrificed by another into the same hole. Fa falls, tumbling down. You hear his shouts and screams as he goes down, growing more and more disturbed.
And as I push him, I'm going to say, have a nice trip.
Yeah.
Okay, so it is you and 5/6 of the coven left.
You've been
Um,
punderstruck.
That was Toll just went. Okay. Inkatink, your turn.
So who is the next closest? Actually, who's the farthest coven member from this mouth that I can see?
I will show you real quickly. Inkatink, you're here with the letter I and T. That's where Toll and all were. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And this guy just got shoved in the hole.
Mm-hmm.
These are the rest of them.
Okay. I think Inkatink is going to grab. He's going to run for the one on the far right. So he's going to work his way counterclockwise.
Okay.
Around that, and then run in a straight line at that guy.
You're going to this guy, right?
Yes. Which one is that?
Okay.
Appearance-wise?
Isn't that the one I hit with a rock?
That is not the one you hit with the rock. He's further behind him. This is the one dressed in all leather.
Yeah.
In like work leather. Not SM leather, but like
Singed.
Sure.
not that was the fur. The guy dressed in furs was all singed. This one he's wearing leather and he's got tools and things,
That might be Simperon.
implements.
The rancher?
So you run ahead.
Yeah, Inkatink runs at that guy, and then he shoots his knees and makes a grapple check on him.
What does that mean?
And that's a...
So Robert wants to know what you mean by the verb shoot.
Oh, that was 14. Like grapple. He takes his shoulder, he drops his weight, takes his shoulder, throws it at the guy's knees, and goes to grapple him. Sorry, I get advantage on this, so I need to roll it. Okay, 16 plus 5 is 21.
Why do you get advantage?
From the way that I took my background and my focus of everything, I took something that gave me advantage on athletics checks. I'd have to look it up. I never do athletics things, so I forgot.
Nice.
But it's on my character sheet. So anyway, 21 grapple to grapple this guy.
Is that Kenku training?
Let me see if I can find why. Advantage.
No, that's gain proficiency.
It'll
Yeah,
probably be
forgery.
listed under the features and traits column.
Oh, no. Sorry. I have advantage on a very specific thing that I can do with athletics, and it does not include grappling. It has to do with climbing stuff. I'm sorry. All right, well, let me re-roll that. All right, 13 plus 5 is 18.
Okay. And you successfully grapple. He does not succeed against that. You've got his legs.
Yep. I begin using whatever's left of my movement to begin dragging this man back bodily towards the
Wait,
mouth.
I'm sorry. You went to that guy. Actually, you know what? You made it about a third of the way to him. Sorry, I forgot you were going to the farthest one.
Okay. All right. Hang on.
Several hundred feet wide. So
I
you're a
did
third
not
of the way
realize.
to him.
I did not realize that he was that far away. Can I, using the excuse of theater of the mind, I'm trying to get to somebody that I can actually get to. So, yeah. So I guess whichever one's closest that I can actually get to.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So you can get most of the way to one of them.
Okay, then I start running towards that one, and as I'm running, I use my Kinku ability to replay the sounds of my people dying as they were being slaughtered in the treetops. So it's this incredibly loud, cacophonous sound of screaming and violence and death.
All right.
So is that with a dash he gets most of the way there?
Are you dashing? Anything?
If I can dash and get it done, I'll dash and get it done.
Okay.
100 feet, just to give you a sense of scale. So he's here. That means he's got about 50 feet.
Okay.
So you'll get, he was starting here because he was with all of y'all. So he's going to get 50 feet. Half. Okay.
It's like 50 feet, so it's like, well, you could dash and get right up to him, and then he would be able to attack you, or you could go your normal movement, and then maybe he could come up and meet you.
I suppose
Or
I
run away.
will. Yeah, I mean, I've got.
But if you get up to him,
Oh,
then
I know what I do. I run up to him and I take a lion, a little brass, golden-looking metal lion, out of my robes, and I place it down on the ground and I kind of skitter it out in the direction of somebody else. But it's just a figurine that's just innocuously skittering across the ground.
Which direction?
Towards Cinderon and the leather, counterclockwise around.
The one you think is leathery Cinderon.
No,
Is that what you meant?
the one. I
Is
mean,
this the
I
one
just
in-
ran at the one closest to me. So down.
Here.
Yeah, and so the one, keep going in the direction the pin is pointing. That guy, I'll slide it over towards that one.
Okay, that's the one in furs.
Okay, so I've slid a lion, a golden lion figurine toward.
Gotcha. Okay, sounds great. Now, it is Neno's turn. Your turn kind of passes in the dark.
Okay. I do pull out my sickle while we're falling.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm
The
curious,
last-
what does she see, though? I mean, I know the characters don't know that, but I'm curious what
Yeah.
it's like.
Okay. Yeah, that's fair. So what's happened so far has been seconds, 30 seconds of falling. That includes, you're not just straight falling.
that's
He's
a
like,
long time.
he's jumping off, slowing your fall so you don't like hit something.
I'm pretty sure my pants are slowing our fall.
Oh yeah, that's a great point. I hadn't thought of.
With you.
That's right. Which would actually prevent you entirely from taking damage. You fall at a rate that doesn't allow you to take damage when you fall. Well,
You are so helping him right now.
yeah, I don't even think he knows that exactly. What you see is just darkness all around you, keeping you from like banging into things. You're still falling at a pretty good rate, but it's not like a lethal rate. And the little bit of light up ahead just diminishing into a point. There is also down below at this point now, you see a sort of bluish green shimmer. It's hard to tell distance. It's the same color went into those pit homes. Some kind of fungus illuminating what was there.
Is it a color I'm familiar of the place where all of our people are being squirreled away right now?
The Oravan's
Yes.
place. Yeah, it's a similar type of thing to that. They were actually doing that with magical things. This is not a magical fungus, but it's the same genre of thing. Like, not necessarily a magically lit fungus. Organic.
And am
Can
I
I put-
alert enough to know that there's something intermittently blocking the light above us?
No.
Okay.
Can I put in a request for this for the audio? This is the first time we've seen the pants in action.
That's
So
right.
this would be a good time to show
That
the
is a great
mechanics
point.
of like, does it just stop them right before, go full speed and then stop, or is it
Yeah.
floating down slowly?
I will do that, and we'll see. I'll give you. Right now, what's happening in the pitch black? You're falling, and it's just for you and Sevek, only manageable fall. It is still blackness with little above and below, but and he's like dexterously feeling the edges that are slick with whatever. Okay. That was Neno of the up above coven finishes casting and is also surprised that its spell did not work. At this moment, cresting over the top in the courtyard, some of you can see this one. You see land in the courtyard space coming in from outside of the main disc. Belvari, it's
Finally. So where am I on the map? I don't think you've told me.
sure. I will show you, but you have not. You emerged a little bit from your.
Cocoon.
This is where you came in, where all of y'all came in. When right here, this little arrow. When Nana went, she scrambled up this way and kind of left. You came out and scrambled a little bit this way, seeing her.
Gotcha.
She then went this way, and you either stayed there or went forward a little bit. This little black spot is not anything.
Gotcha. How far is it to that nearby black spot that is some dude?
The nearest one here,
Uh-huh.
so that would be, if you're right here, about right there, is going to be, I will tell you in a second. Right there. 60 feet.
60 feet.
Engage him.
I will saunter 30 feet closer to him and then fling a stone at his face. 10 to hit.
It does not hit.
I miss.
All right. Do you also call him Simdron?
I probably didn't pick up on all of that, and I just go, oh, man.
Okay. Diamondback, it is your turn. You've just flung at this burly for one of these guy, dressed in singed fur, flung a stone at him and thwacked him right in the head, Goliath style. Seconds have passed, and there's a lot of chaos and action happening here. But as you are sort of exulting in that initial hit on the guy, as though in response to your gladness, your shoulders flicker and flare.
Crud.
Dun dun dun.
It's good news.
It's there's good things about it. Okay. What I would like to know is which is okay. So Diamondback is going to yell something real quick. Just a real brief nugget of strategy to the others, which is focus your attacks. Take one out first, then move on to the next.
I will call that the length of a bonus action.
Sure.
I measure that by message spell. That's my sense of guideline for that.
Which of them is closest to me?
The fur guy.
And is he also close to others of us, or is there one that we could converge on with most effect?
The easiest one for you to converge on would be Yoshka, Inkatink, and Diamondback can. Yeah, all four of you could reach the blindfolded woman.
I'm within 30 feet of the blindfolded woman.
You, Inkatink, and Inkatink are within 30 feet. Toll and Yoshka are within 60 feet. They could dash and reach her.
Okay, so I go up to her, and this is something that probably nobody has seen before.
Okay,
but it is from it's from a feat that I took levels and levels ago, like 4th level or something. I've had it this whole time. I go up to her and I'm going to what's this? Okay. I'm going to make a magical touch attack on her.
Okay.
Dude, PG.
It's going to be a 17 to hit.
It hits.
So this is the spell Inflict Wounds.
Okay.
Make a melee spell attack against a creature you can reach. On a hit, the target takes 3d10 necrotic damage. So you see like Diamondback like hisses like a snake. And if the spell works, I touch her and like coils of smoky, shadowy, necrotic energy come out from me and like lance into her.
And Arasanal's like, how come you don't touch me like that anymore?
Gross. Does it actually happen? Does my spell attack actually do something?
I'm just reading it just to make sure I understand what's happening here. Make a melee spell attack against a creature you can reach. On a hit, takes 3d10 necrotic damage. If you use second level or higher, you get 1d10 for each slot above first level. But yes, it does.
I'm using my free first level cast of it because I'm shadow touched.
Okay.
Cool. She takes 18 damage.
That's a good spell.
18 necrotic. Coming in hot. Diamondback's like, meat's back on the menu, boys.
If you grab her hand, though, it'll probably just make her more appealing to Garaton, actually.
This guy is out of the picture here. Give me a sec. Oh, I'm sorry. It is Fa's turn. In the darkness, I'll describe this from Fa's perspective. He has slammed several times against various parts of this as he's going back and forth, and his hand whips hard against something rough and sharp as Neno's scythe just rakes through his hand as he plummets past them fast. Sickle?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, as her sickle does that. That's Fa's turn here. Diamondback.
Yes.
This one right in front of you. It is the woman's turn. Give me a second. All right. Here we go. My internet's just a little bit slow. I'm assuming it's because of the streaming. Well, that's not it. There we go. Okay. I will try to cue these up in advance of these. Diamondback. This one will work. Yeah. She actually, Diamondback, this is a spell you've seen before. She moves her hands, making a swirling motion, and you don't recognize the motions in particular, but she says some arcane words in a language you don't understand, and a cloud forms above you.
Oh.
It's a tall, cylindrical cloud, 10 feet tall, a 60-foot radius, centered directly above her and now you. A bolt of lightning flashes down. Diamondback, please roll me a Dex savings throw, and I need to figure out what that is here for her.
It's probably going to be your spell save DC.
Yeah.
It's usually listed in when it says the such and such is a such and such level spellcaster.
Yeah,
Right
I will
above the
find that
list of
really
spells.
quickly. I had to do some of this on paper because there's some selection.
Oh.
What you got?
That's a Dex save of 6. Very unlikely that her spell save DC is lower than 6.
It was not.
Oh.
That is then you take 3d10.
Oh, jeez.
Wow, your damage is on par with hers? Is she going easy on you?
This spell, for whatever it's worth, will hang around and hit is an area.
Oh.
Sorry, I'm looking for my d10s. There's one, and
You got to mess up her concentration.
Diamondback, you take 16 damage.
Oh, that's so much. Okay. Wait, but she's standing right near me.
Oh, she is actually standing right near you. She has to make a dex saving throw too.
She cast it on herself, this big area effect spell.
Yeah. I didn't even think of that. Maybe she didn't either in the panic about her spells not working suddenly. I rolled a 1.
Wow.
Wait, but Sir Robert, does it happen when you start your turn in the area or when you end your turn in the area or whatever?
No, she chooses where it's going to hit. And
Oh,
it just
okay.
happens right there. It says, when you cast the spell, you choose a point. It flashes from the cloud at that point. I just rolled a 1. So, oof for her. Let's see what that does. Wow, in her panic, which was to say my lack of foresight there, she just kept on her stuff. And she took She took 10, 20, and even 30 damage.
Wow.
She hurt herself more than you.
That wasn't what she expected. Whoops, but that's what I said. Okay. Bam. Okay, it is now. That was Diamondback. That was that one. Yoshka, your turn. You are 60 feet from where Diamondback has run and said, "Concentrate your energies towards one." Inkatink is right near that one as well. You and Toll are by the mouth because you just successfully shoved Fa down. So you could make it there with a dash, 2 actions. You, as could Toll. Inkatink will be able to make it there on his next turn. Belvari is over off on the side somewhere doing something else. And Arasanala is in the entrance where you first came in. She's about 120 feet from where you would be going. And is opposite side of this from you. You saw him land, but he's currently obscured by the ziggurat.
Okay. Yoshka is going to take out his bow and take a shot at her.
Mm-hmm.
And well, really how would that work? I don't know what the rules are, but really what I'd like to do is shoot at her and then have my handkerchief out. So I don't know if it's like shoot at her and then with my free hand.
The handkerchief's only for melee weapons.
Yeah, I'm just thinking like I'm going to shoot at her and then someone's going to shoot at me.
Yeah, that's fine. You can do that as a bonus action. You get a little extra. That's not the only thing you can do. There's actually a set of things you can do, bonus actions and reactions and stuff like that.
Okay.
So yeah, you pulling your handkerchief out, not a big deal.
Okay. Well, I will do that then. I will shoot at her with this great bow that Zevik has given me for a 24.
That definitely hits.
Since it does hit, I am going to, I hope this helps you guys. I am going to use one of my Battle Master skills called Trip Attack. When you hit with a weapon attack, you can expend, and it doesn't specify melee, so I'm assuming it works with a bow.
Sure.
When you hit with a weapon attack, you can expend 1 superiority die to add the total damage roll, and if the target is large or smaller, it must make a strength saving throw of DC 13.
She's not large. She's medium.
Okay. So if I did hit her with a 22,
you did.
I do some extra damage, and then she'll need to make a strength saving throw, and on a failure, I knock the target prone.
Ooh.
Which won't give me an advantage for future attacks, but since you guys are getting close.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I do. Let's see. So I do 15 damage.
Wow. All right, that's great.
And somehow a tripping shot, maybe in her leg or something.
Yeah, shoot her in the knee or something. So that means, do you make her fall prone?
She now has to roll a strength saving throw DC 13 to see if she can stay up.
I can do that. She rolled an 8. So you hit her in the knee. She once took an arrow there, and she falls.
She is now prone.
She's now
for
prone.
Anybody interested, which means you get advantage on melee attacks. And it's a great time to grapple her.
Okay, so let's see here. Natural 20. You do not break her concentration. Chance of breaking concentration, which would dissipate the spell she's currently working on. Mm-hmm. She's able to keep concentration, but she falls prone and is not able to do more. And you also did a bunch of damage. Okay. It is now. That was Yoshka.
Does that spell? So here's a question that maybe our characters wouldn't know, but maybe you shouldn't tell us this. But does the spell that is the area of effect spell that's like hovering over that area, does it do its effect to characters that are within its range at the beginning of their turn or at the end of their turn? If they end their turn in it or if they start their turn in it?
Neither. It's a different thing.
It's like for her action.
It's like something that. Oh, okay, cool.
It's her quiver.
Great.
Yeah.
So it's not actually dangerous on its own. Okay, so they saw that like it takes her doing something as an action to make this hurt somebody. It's not like
her bow and arrow
poison. Awesome.
Yeah,
so
she's shooting.
It's not on its own dangerous to go in there. It's as dangerous as like, okay, awesome.
Yeah, and she has to target it. So like she goes, and I'll just tell you real quickly. She shoots it within a point, and everybody within 5 feet of that point takes damage. Okay, it is a different one's turn.
Also, I'll just mention I think when Yoshka sees the cloud, he smiles a little bit, seeing it differently. I think he's seen that. We've seen that spell before at the very beginning, But now seeing it again, Yoshka's like, the cloud.
That's right, that cloud. The one wearing all kinds of fur. Seeing you, Yoshka. What's the range on this? Sorry. Range. Oh, touch. Never mind. That's not good. Sorry. That was a touch range. I thought it was a shoot range. Okay, let's do. Yeah, he'll do this. Okay. He, the one far away, the one that you almost ran towards, this is the one wearing furs that are singed. He runs straight towards you, Yoshka.
Are there two with tools? Or does he not have tools? Okay.
He doesn't have tools. He runs straight towards you, Yoshka. And as he's running, he makes a good solid cut towards you, but he has a ways to go. He's not close to you. In his hand, erupting from his hand, a huge scimitar of flame comes out in his right hand, and he's running towards you to get to you, he hopes, in the next turn. It's about a 4-foot blade off of his hand, just in fire, just made of fire, magically appearing.
Is the flame on Diamondback's backpack? Wow,
It
that's a
is.
sentence.
It's from back. I actually have a question, Sir Robert. Something that I just thought of. Because we had a full round. We had a full round of combat previously. Did Arasanala do anything?
She did not. However, seeing that she's out of the way, but she has now noticed and seen that y'all are casting magic.
Nice.
So, it'll be her turn in a minute. Okay, so that guy has run at you now, which is actually towards both Toll and Yoshka, because y'all are standing close together. The one who is wearing all leather, actually, you know what? Not him. It is. Excuse me. Sorry. The one who's wearing all leather. Sorry. He. Standing next to one of the several Girolons there, and he casts a kind of spell on it, and the statue of the Girolon unpetrifies into a real creature, like a real living creature.
Crud.
It is now Toll, your turn.
Cool. How far is the guy with the flaming scythe?
60 feet from you. Running towards you.
Attack the lady that I attacked. Focus our attacks, man.
Well, no, I was thinking I might try to limit his damage if I can, because I have the decanter of endless water. But
I think that works like that, but
well, there's only one way to find out.
it's
But
true.
it's too far
That's
away.
True. That's very true. I like the spirit.
How far away am I from the?
You're about 60 feet away from her, from the one with blindfolds too. I can just show you on this map here.
Okay.
I'm trying to describe it for audio's sake, but also for showing. I'll make a better one if we're not going to finish tonight, just by the time. But this guy with the flame has run up to about there, so you're about 60 feet from him, and about 60 feet from Weir, the blindfolded one. Does that make sense?
Yeah. How far are they from each? Oh shoot.
It's actually. I'll just show you this.
Equilateral triangle.
Now that he has come up to here, y'all are actually just about in an equilateral triangle.
Okay. Is it going to take me an action to unequip my mace and equip my staff?
So I haven't really been doing that. Do you use your staff as a melee weapon?
I have, but I don't frequently.
I'm going to say no this time since you haven't been like swinging your mace around and stuff. So you just pull your
Told
previous
you.
action. You shove the dude.
Gestures with it when he's talking. He's very
That's right.
active.
Yeah, you can just pull it out.
Great. I'm trying to see if I can cast Wall of Thorns, but Beyond is being finicky.
And I'll just tell you this: you're standing right next to Yoshka.
Right.
Yoshka has
See
a
if I can-
magic dampening effect.
Ah. You might need to move away from Yoshika.
Well, I'm wondering if
However-
I can angle this Wall of Thorns so I can get as many of them as possible and none of us.
Maybe, but you're standing right next to Yoshka, so your magic might not work. However, his effect is not strong enough that it's suppressing anybody else so far. Like Diamondback was able to cast a spell, and so was Wira, and so was.
I didn't realize Yoshka had that effect. I thought it was just Zevik.
His clothes
Experimenting. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh.
Whoever was talking.
his clothes seem to have the effect.
Yeah, they actually tested without clothing, and they themselves seem to have acquired it from their time in the hole.
Gotcha.
Okay, I will use my movement to get 20 feet from Yoshka, just because why not?
In which direction? Towards one of those two figures?
As long as I'm within 120 feet of either of them, which I think I should be regardless of where I go, then it doesn't really matter.
I'll just have you split the middle.
Okay. And then upon doing that, can I only catch those two if I have 120? Wait, sorry. Oh, it's only 60 feet long. Okay, so I will use 60 feet of wall to get either of them on the end of it, since you said they're about 60 feet from each other.
Okay.
So when the wall appears, each creature within its area must make a Dex saving throw, DC 12.
DC 12 Dex. One had a 10 and the other had a 17.
Okay, so that is 7d8. And the one who got the 10 is going to take the full amount, and the one who got the 17 is going to take half.
So that is okay.
34.
34 is the full amount, and 17.
Yes.
Okay, and then she took 17.
And hold on.
Beleaguered, but not like specifically near death.
And what's the trigger for the first time a creature enters the wall on a turn or ends its turn there? So I guess they're not going to take damage on their turn if they immediately leave.
Though they're severely reduced, right?
Their movement speed is limited. For every 1 foot they move through the wall, they have to spend 4 feet of movement.
Okay. So
It's the one that he hit, the one that I'm close to.
One of the ones is she took half the damage. She took 17. The other guy took 34.
So these thorns are like right in front of me. They're sort of coming in between me and her.
They appeared around her, like on her, and they're right in front of you.
Right.
She's in the midst of it. You're just outside of it.
Awesome.
Also, if it matters, the wall does block line of sight, so you cannot see her right now.
Okay. That was a effective hit. That was told.
Does her cloud stay?
Oh, she took damage. Let me roll that. Thank you for remembering that. Oh, is his flame? I have to check to see if his flame is concentration. It is. I got to roll for both of them. This will be for his flame sword. And it's a 6. His flame sword disappears as he's in this wall. He writhes and throws back, and his fire dissipates. She has the cloud. Yep, rolled off the table. She also rolled a 6. Her cloud dissipates. This damage significantly bettered your collective position.
Good job, Toll.
There it is.
Strategy. Diamondback appreciates this.
Inkatink, it is your turn. Just in front of you is Diamondback. Just behind you is Toll.
Inkatink produces 3 bottles of yellow viscous liquid with racing black red streaks within it and says, "Gotta go fast," and tosses one to Diamondback and one to Toll and drinks this potion of speed. And as soon as he drinks this, he will be under the non-concentration requiring effects of haste. And then haste. And then it is going to go very, very poorly for these bureaucrats.
All right. Gonna check this real quickly. I haven't done a whole lot of potion stuff, so I just need to understand. Drinking a potion takes an action.
Yep.
Okay, great. Yep.
So I would like to, if I can, use my meta magic. I have meta magic quicken spell. When you cast a spell that has a casting time of 1 action, you can spend the meta magic to make it a bonus action. So I would like to use my meta magic to cast a spell as a bonus action.
Let me see here.
You didn't cast a spell that turn, though.
Yeah, I wasn't. That's not a cast.
Yeah, I'd like to cast. I mean, if you want to change it up, I can cast the spell and do it with a bonus action and then drink the potion. It's
sorry, cast what spell? I don't understand. I just don't understand what you're trying to do.
Fireball.
But Josh,
okay. Your
you
action
already
is
used your action to drink the potion.
Sure. So here's the deal. I would like to cast Quicken Spell meta magic and get that down to a bonus action, and then I'll use my action to drink the potion. Drinking the potion doesn't make a difference to casting my spell.
Your bonus action in this case, I was going to somewhat generously have be tossing a potion to a Diamondback and a potion to Toll.
Okay, fair enough. All right, then that's my turn.
Also, recall you already gave me a potion, and I still have it.
Fair enough, but I gave you this one.
Awesome.
So you have a potion of haste. I would take the haste because haste is going to give you an extra action each round, and it'll make you faster, and it'll give you more AC.
Oh, okay. I didn't realize it was haste. I had to step away for a minute.
Yep.
Yeah, no problem. And I just got to get my numbers here. All right. The would-be shambling mound of squalor back in the back.
Are you talking about me?
I know. Sorry, give me 1 second. This is what do you call that?
Josh, I'm sorry. I misunderstood Quicken Spell.
All right. Where'd it go? Come on. Not that one. Sorry, I've got it right here. Oh boy. Oh, that's why they're not in order. Okay. The squalid one shambling around in the back, who's not really part of the main of the action here. Shuffles towards Belvari, who is the nearest to him.
Is that the one I
And-
tried to hit with the pellet?
No, this is the person past that one.
Gotcha.
And he's like this one. He's the one furthest removed from the action, just in general. All right. He is. Dang it! Sorry, I'm looking at the wrong distances, or the casting time is shorter than I expected. He's not far. He's not close enough. Okay. He just walks, kind of runs, whatever, towards the one that you tried to hit. Belvari. Now, I'll just tell you, but that one is Braka, the squalid, is now standing next to Garatone. Garatone is the one you tried to hit. Those are the two that are over the undead. The two of them together. Just giving you all a little metadata here. That is now that one's turn. I'm going to do yours and Zevek's together because you find down this throat, and you're quickly, but not too quickly. There's a pool of water, and you sort of float fast down to it, and Sevek lands with a crunch on the form of Fa. It's broken. The form of Fa is broken, and so there's this sort of belching splash as he lands. He's able to. I'll roll to make sure he's able to keep his footing. He's absolutely able to keep his footing, and steps off. Fa does not seem to respond to being landed, as far as you can tell, dead. The room that you're in is a cavern. Not enormous, but, pretty big, maybe 40, 50 feet diameter, making a kind of dome above you. It is wet. There's a pool that comes with a sort of natural looking edge, and full of these like wiggling bits of fungus that have these curling sort of innate patterns all around. Glowing fungus is illuminating this room with a sort of shimmering a blue-green color. It's cool down here. It's 50-something degrees. The water is cold. You don't know exactly where it's coming from, the water is, but there's a ring around the edge of this pool about 10 feet wide where it slopes up and is cave floor all the way around. It's a 50-ish foot wide cavern. About 10 feet on the side is this ring of cavern floor, and then it goes into a shallow pool that's, for Zevek, about calf deep. Fa hit it and hit it hard. The pool itself has a lot of it's like mixed reds and blood, but not a whole lot. A lot less. The water seems to be running. That doesn't surprise you, because when the last one got thrown down, the blood came up the top of the thing. Somehow that's happening. As you glance, quickly getting your bearings, this is part of your turn beginning here. You glance, looking around, and you get your bearings, and I forgot look at the size here that I need to see. Okay. At the center of this pool water, totally counterintuitively to you, is rushing upwards in a pillar, like a stream being shot upwards. So there's water coming from somewhere, filling this pool, and it's shooting upwards in about a 10-foot wide, 8 to 10 foot wide circle, straight up and around some kind of rock that you see in the center, then shooting straight up through a hole in the top, in the rock. From there, going who knows where, you're guessing to the top of the ziggurat where it comes out. Glancing or looking at the rock in the center, the rock is actually undulating and pulsing a little bit, and it has contours and all kinds of little shapes in it, and tentacles coming out from it in all different directions. And you realize actually it's like a 6, maybe 7 foot diameter brain. And as you fall into its presence, you hear an overwhelming sense in you that says, "Yes, come."
No, not one of these. They just kill you. What?
That's where we'll end this episode.
The world is doomed.
Matt seems to have an idea of what this creature is. And an eagle-eared listener would also learn some things about the coven from this.
Pretty sure eagles don't have ears.
Maybe not.
They have
I think they
tympanoid.
I think they just don't have earlobes.
I thought it was the other way around. All lobe, no ear.
What?
Maybe so. Their wings are actually just earlobes. Feathered.
A lot of people
Anyway.
don't know that.
That's right. So yeah, there's a terrible-ish brain down here doing this terrible-ish thing, shooting this water up out of this pool up to a ziggurat. And the mouth down which they've been throwing people has been apparently feeding it. But whatever they've thrown down here isn't here now. We'll pick up next time, probably with the end of our thing. Hopefully, our heroes will prevail. Possibly, they will not. Let's find out. Thanks for playing. Thanks for listening. You can find out more about this world we're building it in at starfallcollective.com.